Now, more often than not, the only actors and actresses that are beginning to speak up are the toxic ones, the ones that are very insufferable. We've actually handed out many examples before in the past, those like Alec Baldwin or Sharon Stone, Sunny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg, such as the Talking Heads, right? We know others out there like George Clooney and Julia Roberts. They're only making things worse for themselves, and already they have driven their careers into the ground. There's really no turning back for them at this point. But one thing specifically, of course, we know that there's a lot of things going on right now with Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Sony with the whole Men in Black 5 drama. We talked about this a little bit a couple of days ago, and we have a lot more to talk about it right now when it comes down to Pinkett Smith and what she had to say. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, we know that Jada Pinkett is, yes, of course, another insufferable actress, if you even want to call her an actress at that. The only movie that I could really think about that she was truly in was The Matrix and Collateral, which Collateral, by the way, Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx really stole the show in that movie, let's be clear. But in that movie, I should say. But what's interesting about Jada Pinkett Smith here is that she goes on to play the blame game yet again in the midst of the Men in Black 5 drama. Now, if you guys have not been caught up with the Men in Black 5 drama, let me just give you a quick recap. She wanted a part in that movie that Will Smith is going to be a part of, and she was basically piggybacking on his success, on his involvement in the film, to get herself a part. Sony did not want her in there, and Will Smith got into a very big fuss about that and got very angry about it, and they finally made the call to boot her out of the movie and not have her in it. And she's having a tough time accepting that because Sony's the latest studio to not wanting to work with Jada Pinkett Smith. Now, with many studios within Hollywood now either embracing DEI or backing away from it, multiple celebrities getting caught up in drama with some of these studios, one of which has to do with Jada Pinkett Smith and what she recently had to say after losing her career in Hollywood and getting blacklisted for so many studios, including Sony with Men in Black 5. Jada delivered the following: I just think studios need to wake the hell up already, and they need to think twice about the decisions that they make. I will be upfront with you all, but I have lost so many roles because of this new anti-DEI trend that is taking storm in this industry, and I just think it's a horrible thing for this industry. The fact that actresses like myself are not able to obtain roles because of my appearance is not only discrimination, but it's also offensively childish behavior coming from many of these studio executives. The conversations I was having with some of these studios on some very passionate projects that are just not happening anymore, all because of a combination of this anti-DEI bandwagon and those criticizing my behavior. It's completely out of line, and it's something that I and Will have heavily discussed. That is something that truly bothers me when you're involved in this industry. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is the future of film and television, and to see these studios abolish that is the most nightmarish outcome in this business. I just could not believe that they went through with it all. But when you're a woman in this industry, it's an actual fact that it's harder on us. It's always harder to obtain roles, especially if you look a certain way. With my ethnic background, I feel I have been excluded from so many projects just because of that sole fact, and it's a terrible, terrible thing. As a woman of color, I think many others like myself need to start taking a stand against many of these studios in Hollywood, because it has been out of control lately, especially in 2024. So guys, before I move on about what Jada Pinkett is spewing and really just throwing the most illogical things out there, she's really playing the victim card at this point, and she's really throwing a lot of lies out there. Look, there's a lot of women in the industry that get great, powerful roles. Alright, that is the fact. If she wants to talk about facts, that's a fact. There's a lot of women that get powerful roles in the film industry, heck, even in television, right? And look, you can't go complaining about this when, yes, she did play a part as to why so many studios want nothing to do with her anymore. She said some of the most toxic things throughout all of 2023. You guys may recall, if you have been following us here for a while, that she really made things worse for herself. She is blaming everybody but herself, and that's basically typical Jada Pinkett Smith, right? So she goes on to continue, I am proud to say I am taking the necessary steps to provide some change to all of this, and hopefully these studios will wake up after the reality I will set into them by throwing them the facts. You just can't go around excluding actresses just because of their behavior in their personal life and how they appear. So guys, I believe what she's alluding to are the legal battles that she wants to ramp up against studios like Sony, for example, for booting her out of Men in Black 5. We talked about this, that she was actually thinking about taking legal action against Sony, so that's what it sounds like she's alluding to, by taking the necessary steps as soon as possible or as fast as possible, right? So she goes on to continue yet again, it's not right, and I think that we should all demand that to be changed effective immediately. This way actresses of all different ethnic backgrounds are treated fairly with balance. I will have a lot more to talk about this in the next few weeks, because I think that we need to take the proper steps forward toward these studios and its executives that obviously don't care about women with different ethnic backgrounds. Sexism and misogyny is a very big problem right now in this industry, and it's something that we have to challenge against these studios that obviously want to put women behind or on the wayside to benefit themselves. It's destroying careers, and it needs to be stopped as fast as possible in order for our industry to survive. So here is Jada Pinkett Smith really going off the rails again. This is all in the midst of her getting either blacklisted or excluded from any of these different studios, or conversations that really came to a sudden stop, to a halt, and they want nothing to do with her because, well, quite frankly, she's so unlikable. The same exact thing happened to Robert De Niro, to George Clooney, to Alec Baldwin, on a more minor scale with Alec Baldwin, by the way, just with Apple Studios so far. But especially Clooney and De Niro, they really got a lot of lost roles from different studios because of how engaged they were within politics. With Jada Pinkett Smith, it wasn't so much politics, it was more of her toxic behavior, right? How insufferable she really became, and always, quite frankly, was, and how unlikable she really is, universally speaking. So again, it really boggles my mind why Will Smith is still with her, and look, we will never know the true story of why they stick together, that's a fact. We will never learn the ultimate truth of what's really going on over there, and why Will Smith would even deal with her, but again, this is another example that she is so self-absorbed that many of these actresses, quote-unquote, she's not really an actress anymore, she hasn't really acted in anything substantial in the longest time, but yeah, I mean, she's another actress that's very insufferable, that's very self-absorbed, that really has the it's my way or the highway type of attitude, right? Really wants to make everything related to, race or anything related to sexism and misogyny, when in reality it really all boils down to her overall behavior, the things that she said throughout all of 2023, and the whole mix-up with Will Smith and the whole slap situation, and how, basically she kind of threw that in her book. That really gained a lot of backlash on her as well. We'll talk more about that in the coming weeks, but yeah, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.